Everybody, I am Keaton. This is Kid Catholic Season 6, Episode 5. And before we get into it, I want to say thank you to St. Charles for allowing me to come and speak to the First Communion class, 2nd through 12th grade over there. If you want to book me to come speak, all you need to do is go to kidcatholic.com and press the Contact Me page from there, or you can just email me straight up at kidcatholic1@gmail.com. So it is Holy Week, the climax of the liturgical year, the climax of our Catholic faith, and I did the liturgical year, but I wanted to do the week of Holy Week, beginning to end, take you through the masses slash service, because Good Friday isn't a mass, in Holy Week. So the one that happened just a couple of days ago, Palm Sunday, is what kicks off Holy Week, and then the week after that, Easter, which is coming up very, very soon, ends Holy Week. We do Palm Sunday because over 2,000 years ago, Jesus was entering Jerusalem, and at that point, he was kind of like a superstar. He was super famous. Everyone wanted to hear him. He got super, super popular. And on his way into Jerusalem, they laid palms down in front of his feet so that he didn't have to walk on the dirty ground. That's how popular he was. And so we celebrate Palm Sunday because it is his entering into Jerusalem, but not only that, his entering into the beginning of his passion, death, and resurrection. This is the beginning. He's entering into the town to where he is to die, and he is fully man and fully divine, and the fully divine side of him knows that. He knows that this is the beginning of what is about to come. Nobody else does, he does. And so because he's so popular, because he's getting so popular with everyone, it's a threat to the Jews, a threat to the high priest there in Jerusalem, and so they want to have him arrested, which is what happened after the Last Supper on Holy Thursday. But looking at Palm Sunday spiritually should be a time of us, just like it was for Jesus, to prepare for what is to come. Holy Thursday, Good Friday, and Easter Sunday, that is the climax of the liturgical year. Palm Sunday can sort of get forgotten because it's a part of Holy Week too, even though we might not necessarily always remember it as being a part of Holy Week. Palm Sunday, spiritually, we need to look at that as preparation for what is about to come. We should be looking at preparation all of Lent should be preparation for what is to come, but Palm Sunday is sort of the moment where we can realize it's about to happen. Jesus is about to be arrested and die, and even though they didn't know that 2,000 years ago, Jesus did, and he knew what he was getting himself into. And he did it for us, so we need to thank him and remember. We need to remember every part of his journey to the crucifixion. And then after Palm Sunday, coming up in a couple of days, is Holy Thursday. Now, Holy Thursday is known widely as the institution of the Eucharist, which it is. But it can be forgotten that another sacrament was instituted at the Last Supper. That sacrament is the sacrament of Holy Orders. Jesus instituted the priesthood at the Last Supper because he said, "This is my body and this is my blood. Do this in memory of me." In that little sentence, he instituted... Sorry guys, the lisp is still here, just a few more episodes. It's actually starting to get really annoying though. He said, "Do this in memory of me." When he said that, he instituted the priesthood, because he instituted the body and blood of Jesus Christ in the Eucharist and the priesthood in that one sentence, which is really, really cool. So Holy Thursday can sort of be considered a celebration, even though it's sort of not, because it is the night he's arrested. The Last Supper can still be a sort of exciting time because he did institute 2 sacraments, which is absolutely incredible. Holy Thursday also kicks off the triduum, the beginning of what is the smallest liturgical season. Also on Holy Thursday is the washing of the feet, which took place 2,000 years ago, and we do sort of reenactment of it at Holy Thursday. During Holy Week, the priest comes and washes the feet of 12 people, just like how Jesus washes the feet of the 12 apostles. He does this to show that Jesus came to serve us. We need to serve others. We need to be a servant of God, and the priest does it in that way too. You might remember that at the end of the Holy Thursday Mass, there's not a closing prayer. There's not a closing, really, anything. It ends, and after you process It ends, and then you just go home. No prayer, no nothing. Now, the triduum is one liturgy. At the end of Holy Thursday, there is no closing prayer, no closing nothing. It just, after the procession, Holy Thursday Mass ends, and same with Good Friday service. There's no closing prayer. The Triduum ends at Easter Sunday or the Easter Vigil after the closing prayer. So it's not one Mass because you go home and then come back, and again, Good Friday isn't a Mass, but it's one liturgy because there's no closing for Holy Thursday or Good Friday. So the Holy Triduum is one liturgy, but not necessarily one Mass. And then we get into Good Friday, which is the most devastating, sad time of the Catholic year. The only day throughout the entire year where no Mass is said. Now, why is that? No Mass is said because Jesus hasn't died, right? 2,000 years ago, Jesus had died. They didn't know he was coming back. They didn't know he would rise in just a couple days. It was the most devastating time in history for Christians, and so it should be for us right now. Even though we know that he comes back, they didn't. It was sad for them, and Jesus still died. Even if he did come back, he still died. You know, like Stations of the Cross that we do every Friday. They do one, especially on Good Friday, the day that Jesus died on the crucifix. And at the end of Stations of the Cross, normally there's the 15th station where they talk about Jesus' resurrection. That doesn't happen on Good Friday. There's no 15th station. He gets buried in the tomb, and then the stations end. Good Friday is, again, technically not a Mass, a service. Good Friday, get this, Good Friday is so emotional that the priest comes in and lies down prostrate at the very beginning of the service. He comes in and he lies down prostrate right in front of the altar for a long time. And to see your leader come in and lie down prostrate can be very powerful, because it shows, like, at this point, 2,000 years ago, the Catholic Church was in a huge defeat. Now, why isn't it a Mass? Why is it just a service? Well, there is no consecration. The priest does not turn the bread into the body and the wine into the blood at that Mass. What the priest does is, the night before on Holy Thursday, he will consecrate extra hosts and consecrate extra wine, and then by Good Friday, there are leftovers from that Mass. So while communion is offered, there is no consecration. There is no changing of the body, or there is no changing of the bread into the body or the wine into the blood. Therefore, it makes it a service and not a Mass. It is not a Mass if there is no consecration. Just like how you wouldn't call the Stations of the Cross a Mass, because there's no consecration during that either. And so Good Friday is the most bummer, sad, devastating day throughout the entire year. But it all recovers when we get into Easter Sunday. It's Easter Sunday, it's joyful, it's exciting, yay. And before Easter Sunday, the night before, they have the Easter Vigil. The Easter Vigil is like the biggest Mass of the year. The most is going on. Jesus is resurrected. The new converts come into the church, get baptized, receive confirmation, and the sacrament of First Communion, all in one Mass. A ton happens during the Easter Vigil. The Easter Vigil starts out dark with a light ceremony in the dark, and it's just a lot happens. The Easter Vigil is absolutely incredible, and it's the one that I go to, and I would suggest that you go to it too. But again, you're welcome to go to Easter Sunday Mass the very next day, like I've been saying. But either way, Easter Sunday, Easter Vigil, they are all a part of the Holy Triduum. Easter Sunday is, of course, Jesus' resurrection. It is one of the most joyful times throughout the Catholic year. And the mood changes like that, from super bummed out to super happy, because Jesus is risen, Jesus is alive again, and he's here. And Easter nowadays sort of gets looked at as more of a holiday with bunnies and eggs, but really that's not what it is about. Just like Christmas, which isn't really all about Santa and elves, that's about Jesus' birth, just like how Easter is really about the resurrection of Jesus. So let's go back 2,000 years again. You have all this happening within 1 week. Jesus enters Jerusalem. They lay palms before his feet. We go to Holy Thursday. He institutes 2 sacraments. He says the Last Supper. And at this point, when he calls it the Last Supper, when he says what's about to happen to him, when he tells the apostles that one of them are about to betray him, the apostles know that something is coming, right? The apostles know that something is about to happen, and they don't necessarily know what. But Jesus gets arrested, he gets convicted, and he gets crucified. And it was such a terrifying time. That's part of why Good Friday is so devastating, is because the apostles were spread out. Out of the 12 apostles, get this, out of all 12 apostles, the apostles hand-chosen by Jesus Christ himself, hand-chosen by the God of the universe. Even St. Peter, who was hand-chosen as the leader of the church after Jesus, who was hand-chosen by Jesus as the leader of the church, ran away because it was so scary, because it was so devastating. Only St. John, the apostle, stayed with Jesus through it all. St. John and Jesus' mother, Mother Mary, stayed with Jesus throughout the entire thing. That's how devastating it was. You have all these followers, and they all go. That is how devastating it was. And in the apostles' minds, after he died, he said he was going to raise the temple in 3 days. They didn't know that meant he was going to come back in 3 days. After he had died, that's like a huge loss for them. They think Jesus is dead. We're all on the run. We're not together. We're scared. Jesus is dead. He's gone. That's what they are thinking, right? That's it. He doesn't come back in their minds because it hasn't happened yet. And so throughout Good Friday, we need to put ourselves sort of into that mindset. Into the mindset of Jesus hasn't come back yet. And as far as we know, he won't come back until Easter Sunday when he does. And in fact, I like to say that the Easter Sunday that we celebrate can be sort of more joyful than it was 2,000 years ago. Because 2,000 years ago, the apostles were more so confused. The Easter Sunday that we celebrate now, we know that Jesus is back no matter what. But back then, it was confusing. I mean, think about Mary, mother of James, when she went to bring spices to the tomb and she saw Jesus. She thought the body was stolen. She thought Jesus had been stolen, which would have been even worse, right? The apostles thought he was a ghost. St. Thomas didn't know exactly what was going on. So back then it was more confusion, but they came to know that Jesus had resurrected, just like how we know right now that Jesus has resurrected. And so we can't just look at Holy Week as a ton of masses crammed into 1 week, which is sometimes without even realizing it, we can get into the motion and think of it specifically only as that. We need to look at it as the events happening, as if it were happening for the first time. The events that happened over 2,000 years ago that we're still commemorating today. That's how significant and important these events were. So we need to look at Holy Week more so as that, not necessarily as just a group of masses. And that can be hard to do, but we need to do our best too. Another great way is to read the story throughout the different Gospels of Jesus' passion, death, and resurrection. A Holy Week is, like I said, the climax, and we should pray through it. We should experience it as if it really were the climax of our own lives too, not just 2,000 years ago. So now that the topic is on, do y'all know what it's time for now? It's time for
the Saint of the Week.
Now today's Saint of the Week is perfect for a Holy Week, and his name might sound familiar to you. Joseph of Arimathea. He is actually a saint, Saint Joseph of Arimathea. He is the one who, after Jesus' death, like I said, was so terrifying that the apostles, the disciples, they were all spread out. He was a secret disciple of Jesus and had the courage to go to Pontius Pilate, the man who killed Jesus, and ask for Jesus' body. Pontius Pilate did so, and St. Joseph of Arimathea wrapped Jesus' body in linen and laid him in a tomb, the tomb of Jesus Christ. Something that's even cooler about that is the Bible doesn't explain what happens to him after that. The rest of his story is legend, but this legend is pretty darn cool. The legend has it that he is actually the uncle of the Blessed Virgin Mary. Isn't that incredible? Have you ever thought of Joseph of Arimathea as the Blessed Virgin Mary's uncle? Because I haven't. It's absolutely incredible. Legend also has it that he would actually help care for Jesus when Jesus was a young boy. There's a legend that even says, as a young boy, St. Joseph of Arimathea took the little boy Jesus sailing. Legend also has it that he was at the foot of the cross as well, not only St. John the Apostle and the Blessed Virgin Mary, but he was at the foot of the cross as well, and collect drops of Jesus' blood from the crucifix and the chalice that Jesus had used at the Last Supper. Legend has it that he then brought that chalice to England and kept it there as a cherished relic. And it was the most cherished relic in England until King Henry VIII came and just destroyed the abbey and destroyed the... Darn King Henry VIII, why'd you have to do that? That was such a cool relic. Anyway, he's an absolutely incredible saint. To have the courage to go and ask the man who killed Jesus for Jesus' body, like, even when St. Peter, the first pope, was so scared that he even denied Jesus, which Jesus forgave him for later. Jesus forgave all the apostles for abandoning him at his passion later on after his resurrection. But still, he had the courage to go and do that. And as a secret disciple of Jesus, that's absolutely incredible. He is the director, or he is the patron saint of funeral directors, and the rest of his story, which again is only legend, is absolutely mind-bogglingly, I keep getting told that mind-bogglingly isn't a word, but it's a word to me, incredible. We can look to St. Joseph of Arimathea anytime we need courage, or really anytime, let's say, we're going to be an uncle or something. I don't know, it's a cool uncle. Again, legend, but still. So yeah, he's an absolutely incredible saint who we can all look to and pray through, because we don't pray to the saints. So, thank you guys so much for watching. Please like the video. Please click the red subscribe button down below and the button next to it. That way you get notified when I come out with a new video. Now that Lent is about to end, throughout all of Lent, how did you do with what you were giving up? It was tough for me to not watch YouTube, but it was a sacrifice, and I managed, and I'm glad that I was able to give it up. So how did you guys do what you were giving up? Also, check out my website, kidcatholic.com. You can go out there, read about me, check out my photo gallery, contact me. I have a speaking engagements page, so you can go and look at some of the talks I've given. I've spoken to 12th graders, I've spoken to high schoolers, middle schoolers, I've spoken to young kids, second graders. I actually have a video on there of one of the talks that I've given to a Catholic school in Tulsa called Marquette Catholic School. You can also buy your very own Kid Catholic shirt on there. You also should check out my social medias, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. The link to all three of those will be in the description and in the comments below. If you have any saint or topic ideas, please let me know in the comments below. So thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure that your friends and family know about Kid Catholic by sharing this channel and video with them. I will see you all next week. And hi, Brielle!